Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
And we welcome you to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, WKYC style. We've got 30 minutes of Cleveland area sports. I'm Jay Crawford. In the next 30 minutes, in honor of 216 Day, February 16th, we'll be sharing our favorite Cleveland sports memories with you. I think you can guess which one mine is. Bull?
I'm Adam the Bull, and I'm going to tell you, and I may shock you, with which team in Cleveland is closest to winning a championship. G.
Hey, I'm G. Bush, and I'm going to tell you what. A lot of you guys don't like the Guardians uniforms. I'm going to tell you why the City Series should be the new permanent uniforms.
Oh.
McNuggets?
And I'm Mikey McNuggets, and we're going to tell you whether or not it's a lock that Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry get extensions this offseason, but we start by grading the Cavs on their first half performance, Jay.
Yeah, look, what do you guys give the Cavs? Because here we are at the All-Star break, which is not really the halfway point. We're much further than the halfway point of the season. But the Cavs currently sit as the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Remember, last year they finished as the 4 seed, won 52 games, but were bounced in the first round. Letter grades. Yeah. What do you got?
I got an A+. I mean, what more can you ask for? The Cavs, you mentioned they're in second place. They have the 4th best record in the NBA. And outside of the Celtics, who are 6 games ahead of the Cavs, the other 2 teams with better records are only a game and a half better, the top 2 teams in the West. They were without 2 of their best players for a long time. They're the last quarter of the season, they're the best team in the NBA. Except for maybe Boston, but I don't even know. Everybody on the roster, except for maybe Darius Garland, is playing the best basketball of their career. The coach was this close to getting fired, and now he's in the conversation for Coach of the Year. We'll see what happens the rest of the season, but right now, A+ for me.
I got to go with A+ as well. And I think this is mainly due to when you look at the roster, it's Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is playing his career best right now. You take a look at his not for his free throws, he's getting to the line a lot, but assists per game, career high. You look at the rebounds per game, career high. You look at how much he's averaging, almost 29 points a game. He did it without Garland and Mobley. And the thing that I think is most impressive is he comes out every single game, and look at the last game before the All-Star break. He looked around, and that game could have been touch and go with the Bulls. They came out ready to go. White and DeSumo were hitting shots. But guess what? They were down 17. Donovan Mitchell said, nope, get on my back. We're going to carry him to the promised land. And he plays games like that. They no longer concede games where they start off slow. Donovan Mitchell makes sure that he's a spark plug, drags them to the finish line, and I think they should get an A+ right now, a second team in the East.
Well, we can't have a clean sweep, and Professor Crawford has the history of grading very toughly. So with that in mind, I'm going to give the Cavaliers for the first half of the season plus an A. I can't quite get to an A+.
Okay.
And there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, you mentioned the game the other night against the Bulls. Okay, it was great the way they ended it, but you can't fall down to a team at home like the Bulls by 17 points. And I know White was playing Jordan-like basketball. He was out of his mind.
Best game I've ever seen played.
I was literally like, man, I knew this guy was good. I didn't think he was that good. Then he had the 3 at the end, which was a decent look, top of the key.
Good look, I thought.
When it came off his hands, I'm like, I won't be shocked if that goes in.
Right.
It rattled out. But I can't go all the way to an A+ because, again, you're the best team and the second best team in the conference. You can't let these teams like the Bulls and the game before them, the Sixers, who were playing shorthanded, come in here and either beat you or take you to a last-second shot. So, also, yes, I agree with you. A lot of these guys are playing the best basketball of their careers. Donovan Mitchell, for sure. Allen is. Mobley is. Garland is still struggling. I don't know what the answer is to figure out how to fit him into all of this.
Well, you wonder if that game-winning shot the other day gets him in a good frame of mind.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
But then, he also missed the shot
against
Philly that would have given them the victory. So let's give them an A. And I also want to make this statement. This is a quiz in the midterm grading section, and it's only going to count for 10% of your final grade.
That's true.
I don't care about the regular season anymore. You and I particularly said, no. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I want to see what they do leading up to the playoffs and in the playoffs. So it counts for 10% of the final grade. The second half will count for 20% of the final grade. And what you do in the playoffs will count for 70%.
And the reason I say that it does matter, the regular season matters, you bring in Strus, you bring in Niang, you're trying to work those guys in. Plus, you're playing a different style of basketball, and you're trying to incorporate Darius Garland into this play style when he does not have the ball as much because Donovan Mitchell has the ball. I think that's the reason this year it does matter a little bit more in the regular season because of the new parts, the way they play.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
It matters to a degree. It's not proof of anything they're going to do in the playoffs. Is why ultimately it doesn't matter, because just because you play great in the regular season doesn't mean you're going to play great in the playoffs.
As we learned last year.
There's value certainly to what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
But it's not proof of success on the next.
I agree. It's not really an indicator of what they're going to do. They have to figure out matchups.
Right.
They have to figure out rotations. I still think the big question this year is, what is Darius Garland?
Yes.
That's the big question. Okay. Next up, let's go to the Browns. And there's something a little interesting happening in Berea right now. And I say interesting because coming off a year in which the team overperformed based on the injuries they had, Kevin Stefanski was named Coach of the Year. Andrew Berry, by some counts, could be considered in a conversation for Executive of the Year. He made some great offseason moves, upgrading this team. But Berry and Stefanski, as a duo, are entering the last year of their contracts, and there really hasn't been a whisper about an extension for either one. 1 to 10, 10 being shocked, 1 being this is what you expected. Where are you on the scale of surprise?
I'm at a 10 right now. I'm
really?
shocked. I guess I'll say 8 because with Jimmy Haslam, I guess you never know. But I'm shocked that they haven't been offered an extension as far as we know. Now, there was a report last weekend that it's going to happen, and that was good to hear. But and I spoke to Mary Kay this week, and she said the same thing. She thinks it's going to happen. But yeah, I'm at 8. I'm really surprised that it hasn't happened already.
I think it's a 5. I'm like, oh, okay, it's halfway between, because what they've told you, the front office has told you, the main objective is a high-powered offense, Deshaun Watson looking like he did in Houston, and the Cleveland Browns going out looking to be more explosive overall and getting receivers, getting people for this offense. And if you look at it, they haven't done it yet. They haven't bolstered the receiving core. Deshaun Watson does not look like he was when he was in Houston. And they don't necessarily like the offense that they were running. So if you think about it, read the tea leaves, They've actually gone more to change the team than to acknowledge them and to say, okay, that was a great job. Let's keep things going. They've actually gone out of their way to tell us in their moves, that was a nice year. It's not duplicatable though. So this is what your objective is. Yes, you had won 12 games, and yes, you played and you played with the Texans. But I also think they take something away from them because of the fact that you lost that bad to a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, that I think was at the season ended on a sour note. And because of that, we saw a change at offensive coordinator. We saw a change at the tight end coach position, a change at the running back position. It's weird. Typically, when you win 11 and make the playoffs, you're rewarded with something. This team really wasn't rewarded. Kevin Stefanski, Coach of the Year, second time in 4 years. Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year. You would think that there'd be flowers, but there haven't been. And I think as a fan base, as I've had a little bit more time to think about all that, I'm okay with that. It's the Haslam's way of saying, okay, you did okay. You didn't break any records. You did okay, but we need better than okay. It was a shot across the bow. Initially, I didn't like the moves. Why are you making these moves? These guys overachieved. What they're saying to the organization and everybody in it, this wasn't good enough. We expect more. Our bar is higher, and we're moving in a different direction to get there. So I'm okay with that. I'm actually lower than you. A, it's the Haslams. Nothing surprises me. B, there's clearly some friction going on in this organization. I'm not reporting, this is my opinion. I don't think Kevin Stefanski wanted to move on from the offensive coordinator and Alex Van Pelt.
Nope.
I don't think he necessarily wanted to hire Ken Dorsey, and I don't think he wants to give up play calling, and that may happen. So because of all of that, there's some friction going on, and I know that everybody right now is saying it's going to happen, and it probably will. But right now that it hasn't, I'm not too shocked by it. Today is February 16th, also known as 216 Day, in honor of the OG area code in the Cleveland area. Now we're getting a third area code to go along with 440 and 216. My question for you guys, and Bull, you can start here. What's your favorite all-time Cleveland sports memory?
So this was a tough one because I had 4 finalists. So, of course. So rapid fire, the other 3 was the Cavs the day they won the championship.
Yeah.
Jason in 2012, it was September 26th, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Jason Giambi hit a walk-off homer in Cleveland. I was at the game when the Indians at the time had to win like all those games at the end of the year to get that wild card spot, and it was the first time they made the playoffs with me in Cleveland, and I was all caught up in it. That was exciting. And then, of course, in November of 2011, the first remote broadcast, the Bull and Fox show ever, at Around the Corner in Lakewood, Thursday Night Football. Browns got smoked by the Steelers, but the bar was packed with fans of the show, and it was my welcome to Cleveland moment. It was so great. But ultimately, the best moment for me since 2011 was the parade day. That day was crazy. I watched it from the roof of the county office building, and just looking at the humanity of fans going from the highway down to the lake on East 9th. The parade had to be delayed because there was not enough police officers to keep people off the street. Everybody was in a great mood. It was such a fun day, the first championship in the city in forever. It was just such a positive experience. Everybody was loving each other. Kyrie even had fun. JR had the shirt off. The weather was incredible that day. It was a magnificent day, and I will never, to the day I die, forget this day.
That was a wonderful day. That was a wonderful event. Winning the championship was my number 2. I remember celebrating in the plaza area between Progressive and what was then Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
And walking back to the hotel, which was downtown. I was in town for ESPN to cover it. There was gridlock everywhere. Nobody could move.
Yep.
Everybody was outside of their cars.
Yep.
Dancing on cars, horns beeping. It took me about an hour to get from the plaza to the hotel, which was just a couple of blocks away. And what I'll never forget about it is it was the one time in my life where I remember commenting, and it was the overarching theme of that night was, look at how society can integrate.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw black guys hugging white cops. I saw, when do you see that? I saw white guys high-fiving black guys that were dancing on their cars. That was the one thing that I said, boy, you'll never see that again. Yeah. I saw 2 black guys dancing on some guy's car, it was not theirs, with their shirts off, going like this, and the owner of the car got out, and I go, uh-oh, and he high-fived the guys that were dancing on his car.
Man.
There was love everywhere, and the euphoria of finally celebrating a city championship was unlike any other. But for me, it was Rajai Davis's home run. It's a moment I'll never forget. It was one of the most unlikely things I've ever seen in sports. They were down 2. It was the 8th inning. It was Rajai Davis. He was choked up 4 inches on the bat.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be in a field-level suite with my son and Bernie Kosar, and we were jumping up and down in a group hug well past him crossing home plate.
Yeah.
By the time we got done and we looked out, he was off the field. That's how long we were celebrating.
That was crazy.
It was a euphoric moment, unlike one I'd ever experienced as a sporting fan. I am a huge baseball guy. That's why that's my number 1. It was followed by one of my most disappointing moments.
Of course.
But I'll never forget that moment.
You guys been
Not only was it Rajai, but it was against Aroldis Chapman.
It was an unlikely hitter against a guy that looked like he was throwing CGI fastballs.
You guys, you being baseball guys, you messed up. I'll just go ahead to take this one down the pipeline because you're baseball guys. This is easy. Opening day. at Jacobs Field. Are you serious? Bill Clinton throws out the first pitch. Look at this Manny Ramirez footage. Look at this. Listen, the game goes, I think the game goes into extra innings.
11th inning.
11th inning, and guess what? The Indians walk it off. Now look at this. The field is pristine. You have the best ballpark in the world. You have Manny. You have Albert.
Manny was skinny then.
Hey,
Well, skinny Manny.
Jim Thome. You take a look.
That was Randy Johnson pitching.
And guess what? At the end of the day, that's when everybody was locked in to what the Indians was doing.
Yeah,
There
now
you go.
here's the shot of the walk-off here in the 11th. I think it was Wayne Kirby.
Wayne Kirby.
Oppo double. Well, it ended up being just a single because Eddie Murray scored the winner. But that I remember that.
My parents let me stay home. Only time my
Nice.
parents let me stay home from school to watch
I didn't
that
realize
game.
Bill Clinton was a lefty. I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
And speaking of walk-offs, mine, I've only been in Cleveland for a couple years, so it's a short list, but when Oscar Gonzalez took Corey Kluber deep
good.
in the 15th inning, the walk-off hit Anthony. You can play the video whenever you want, my friend. Literally
Yeah, it
anytime.
was
You got it
nuts.
queued up. That's the wrong one, Anthony. We'll go to break. Anthony, you're so
By
close,
the way,
buddy.
on that day, I was
You were
at
so
my
close.
nephew's bar mitzvah, and I kept walking out to watch the game on my phone.
That game felt like it took 8 hours.
Oh, my
and
God, that
every
was
pitch,
crazy.
The game was in the balance in every single pitch of that game.
Yeah.
It's unlike a game any
And
other
Oscar
I've seen.
Gonzalez is no longer with
Now
us.
he's been cut by
Yeah,
2 teams since
it's
then.
unbelievable. All right, we're taking a break. When we come back, I love this question. It's going to be a fun topic. Which of the 3 Cleveland professional sports teams playing at the highest level are closest to winning a championship? We discuss after the break. We welcome you back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It is 216 Day, so obviously we're talking about the Cleveland sports teams and their chance to win a championship. Which team right now, the Cavs, the Browns, or the Guardians, has the best chance, Bull, to win a championship?
Now, what I'm about to say really is not going to make sense to a lot of people because if you ask me who the best team in Cleveland is, to me it's close between the Browns and the Cavs. I would actually say the Cavs are probably the best team in Cleveland right now by a hair over the Browns, and I think the Guardians are clearly third. And yet I'm going to make the argument that the Guardians actually have the best chance of winning a championship in the next year, and here's why. With the Browns, it's obvious. We don't know about their quarterback situation. And as good as the Browns are, you, for the most part, have to have the quarterback to win, right? We saw that in the playoffs. Great quarterback play. And the AFC is so tough, and the Chiefs feel like impossible to beat right now. It's hard to pick the Browns. As for the Cavs, Mike talks about this all the time. It's nearly impossible to win a championship when your best player is a small guard. We've seen Steph Curry, who had one of the greatest teams ever around him, and Isaiah Thomas, who had a bunch of Hall of Famers around him, do it. That's basically been about it. Now, the Guardians, I look at them on paper, and I'm like, they're not a championship team. They're a 500 team to me. However, baseball, more than any other sport, if you punch your ticket, you've got a shot. In football, if you punch the 7th ticket and you have no quarterback, but you made it because you're not going to win a Super Bowl. In baseball, everybody's got a shot that makes the playoffs. And the Guardians have one thing that not a lot of teams in Major League Baseball have. They got a damn good pitching staff. And if they're healthy, and even if they win the division with 86 wins, which is possible in this division, they have the type of pitching staff that can get hot in the playoffs, and you can win a championship. And because of the randomness of baseball, way more than basketball and football, where the better team more often wins, I'd give the Guardians the best chance.
So I've got the Guardians with the second best chance for that reason. Winnable division, and the strength is their pitching staff.
Yes.
And once you get into a series, when they've got really 4 guys, Bull, with front of the rotation kind of stuff. Not a lot of teams can go that deep with their starting pitching. Get into the playoffs, keep your starting pitching healthy, and pitching wins in the playoffs. You got to score runs to win.
Yeah.
But
And
I'm
a good
with you.
closer, too, to shut it
and they've
out.
got a great closer.
Yeah.
So they're my number 2. For the Browns, for the reasons you mentioned, you need a quarterback. We don't know what we have. And there's 6 teams in our conference that have quarterbacks that are going to be around and be heard from for a very long time. So for that reason, they're my last choice. For me, it's got to be the Cavs. They're currently the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Yes, they're 6 games behind the Celtics, but they've been playing their best basketball the last 2 months. The big question for me is, What is Darius Garland on this team, and how does he fit in? We know now with Mobley and Allen, they've got two guys that are going to give you double-doubles every night. They have figured out how to play together well with both of those guys. Donovan Mitchell is what he is. He's a top 15 player in the league, maybe top 10 player in the league. I think, and I'm not saying he can carry them to a championship, and I'm not putting him in the same breath as Isaiah and Steph, but he's not far from those guys. He can take over a game. I just think right now the Cavs are the best positioned team in Cleveland to bring back that trophy.
Well, those are good answers, but man, will the Guardians win? Oof. I don't know if they plan on bunting their way around the bench.
Pitching wins championships, and they haven't.
Square up a bunt for a home run. You have to score some runs, and I like the Cavs. Don't get me wrong. I think they are second. I think Jay is correct. Here's my problem. I need to know if Darius Garland is a max player, and is he going to be able to show up and in a supporting role of Donovan Mitchell. I'm sold on Donovan Mitchell. I think he'll come up and show up and do his thing this year. But I don't know necessarily about Darius Garland. This is an easy one. The Browns are the top team that is closest to winning a championship. They got the quarterback. We know he can play, right? We've seen it before. It's just about putting it together in a recent terms. You got one of the best special backs in the game in Nick Chubb. We talk about it all the time. Nick Chubb was available last year. I think they could have made a run with Joe Flacco. You got the coach of the year. We talk about, when it comes to coaching, Tito leaves. Stefanski is the best coach in town now. You got a defense that's been either 1, 2, or 3. Dominant defense. Myles Garrett is a cornerstone player. You got a dominant corner in Denzel Ward. And now all you got to do is get it together and get you a couple extra pieces to augment what you got. David Njoku coming off a career year. And, yeah, they didn't really make it to the second round like we thought they should. But they beat the Baltimore Ravens. They've beaten some of those teams. And
they beat the Niners.
They beat the 49ers. And those guys were on the highest level of where they were. So the obvious answer is the Cleveland Browns are the closest to getting done.
Here's the real answer. They're all three going to win their next seasons.
Well,
so we'll have a Cavs, a Browns, and a Guardians championship to celebrate all in one year.
Has that ever been done? 3 in 1 year?
Not that I can think of. I know teams have won 2, but not 3 that I can think of.
So by that logic, Jay, the Cavs are the closest to winning a championship. You win.
You're right.
I think
That's true. They're all going to win.
Their championship is next on the calendar.
Didn't the Boston Bruins do it?
Bruins and Patriots won them in the same year, I believe.
And I don't know if
maybe the Celtics. I don't know. We'll
get you that.
Taking a break. Our 216 theme show continues because on the other side, what will the City Connect uniforms look like for our Cleveland Guardians? We put together some prototypes. We'll share them with you when we open the Cleveland Sports Show on WKYC. Comes right back.
You're a Yankees.
Yeah. All right, welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. This is going to be fun. Well, you started out, we've seen these City Connect jerseys, which I love.
Yeah.
Now the Guardians are going to join the party with it.
Yeah.
What would you put on your City Connect jersey?
I got real in depth, and let me tell you something. I'm a bit of a perv, if I'm honest about it. So I want to put a naked woman's leg on the. There you go. So there's the leg lamp. G is very and because the only sport that anybody cares about around here is the Browns, pretty much. I made the Guardians wear Browns colors.
That is trash.
That's just wrong.
That's the worst uniform I've ever seen.
Oh, you don't like that?
That is
the
trash.
Cleveland leg lamp.
Naked legs.
No,
G, you're up next. What do you got?
This is it, man. Shout out to Major League. This is an homage. Check this out. This was on Twitter. Yeah. I think these uniforms is crazy. You got the guards on the front. You got the baseball. They're black. We got some black uniforms trimmed. I love those Guardians uniforms right here. These are the homage.
I think they look like beer league softball.
So I see what you did. You went, and I should have seen this coming.
Yeah.
He loves the unis and the color schemes.
Yeah, look at
so you went fashion.
Yeah, like
I
that.
went
That's
with iconic icons. Like what describes or defines our city. I want on one half of the jersey an image of the Terminal Tower. By the way, Anthony, our director, is also our graphics guy.
Nice.
Great job on these graphics. And then the Guardian Bridge icon on the right. And that's going to be my uniform with CLE on the front.
Jay, I like where you were going. I was very similar mindset. And if you want to take mine here, you're missing one thing. The most iconic image in all of Cleveland. Anthony, please take this before we go. Tim Misney's eyes have to be across the middle of the jersey. Tim Misney has to be on this, but the Terminal Tower also fits.
I love it.
It looks like that tower is going up his nose.
We're out of time. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.
Peace.
He will make them pay.
And this Billboard game is off the charts.